So, Doc, what are we doing tonight?
What we try to do every night.
Cut. Take two.
Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la.
Guys, we gotta do this.
Wolfie Doo, where are you?
Alright, I'm out of here.
Alright, so welcome back to another episode of Chango Libre.
Oh, shit.
This time for reals.
Again, this is going to be another, probably about hour of us talking around, so, what do we got on the docket for today, guys? I'm using big fancy words like docket.
I know, right?
And lawyers and...
Martial arts movies in particular.
Okay, I was like, I don't know any martial arts, so
I can do drunken master, especially the drunken part.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we all master drunken style.
But speaking of drunken style, if we're going to be talking about martial arts movies, the original Jackie Chan Drunken Master, not the one that came after where he's getting the artifacts, but the one that before where he's training with the old guy.
Yeah.
That one. Have you ever seen it? I know you've seen it, Doc, but have you ever seen it, Wolf?
Yeah, I think I've seen it twice, but I was very young.
Yeah. I don't know why that one right there is always on one of my top kung fu movies. And of course, it's all staged, kung fu and whatnot. But holy crap, when he's being trained, he has those poles tied to his arms, and the old man is going through the motions, and because he's tied to the motion,
I find when it comes to martial arts movies and stuff like that, I split them into two categories. I split them kind of in the more artsy style, the stuff that's if I want a good movie that has martial arts, I look at these. But if I just want to have silly fun, I'll look at these.
Yeah.
Which a lot of the bad martial arts movies are in.
Oh yeah. But
I don't know. I mean, for me, even the bad martial arts movies, they're just maybe 70s to maybe early 80s.
Yeah.
The Drunken Master, of course. Five Deadly Venoms, and
you put the Five Deadly Venoms into the sillies, or
it's in that time frame. That's what's the silly part, right?
Yeah.
It's the time frame, but even
it's got
into
great looking footage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I'm like, hey, it looks like especially when you see the blood that they use back then. It looks like everybody just throws some powdered Kool-Aid into their mouth, and then chunks. You see chunks, and it's not even really red. It's
they're throwing up tomato soup or something.
Yeah. So, and of course, when we discuss this, I'm not counting the Bruce Lee movies because everybody's going to say, "Oh yeah, those are my favorites."
Enter the Dragon, it's pretty easy to say Bruce Lee is by all means, he wasn't the greatest actor. I know he was camera shy and everything. Yeah, but
he was camera shy, but he wasn't scared to whoop that ass in real life. I don't know why, but
disarm me.
That being the case, so would you put the Shaw Brother movies in there?
To me, the Shaw Brother movies are some of my favorite movies. I'm not going to say they're the best because everybody's version of the best is different.
Yeah.
But to me, they were growing up. They were the most memorable.
Yeah.
They're the best of that genre of that generation movies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
But,
so, have you ever seen any of the Shaw Brothers stuff? It usually starts off with the big old that starburst, that blue and white starburst, and it's a gold symbol in the middle, and it's a Shaw Brothers production.
I think I've seen a few.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I can recall them off the top of my head. But definitely now I've probably seen at least maybe.
I want to say the Five Deadly Venoms is one of them. So
let me pull it up, maybe.
It's that one right there, and I'll put up a symbol, that SB that you see there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. that's usually the symbol that will pop up on a Shaw Brothers movie. And it's usually like, if I remember correctly, it was like popping up in the middle of like one of those red like shrine things, you know?
Yeah.
But regardless,
it's a funny thing I saw. I can't for the life of me remember if it was on HBO or what exactly it was on. I remember that somebody doing a documentary based on like old school martial arts movies, and they literally were talking about how in some of those movies, like women actually got the lead roles, and especially for that time, it was. I mean, nobody really thought about it back then, but it was actually, one of the very few times that women actually got the lead role in some action movies and stuff.
Yeah, there were some.
Okay.
I always remember there was one called Dirty Ho. Like,
it's a different film.
Well, literally, it's a funny thing because I was trying to prepare for this because I knew we were going to do it, and I was going through. I think I forgot the name of the website. It's called Geek something, but they were ranking like the best, like I'll say 20 movies or whatever, and one of them was that, and the guy literally in his review started saying like, "Hey, Tava, it's funny now." They're like, because it means something different.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was kind of a comedy kung fu movie type thing.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool of like to have a sense of humor about it. Now I don't know in today's culture, today's society, they're gonna have they might have to retitle that movie, but
Legend of the Dirty Ho.
Legend of the Dirty Female Body Parts.
Legend of the Dirty Farm Implement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, like from the Shaw Brothers stuff, my favorite has always been the one that you introduced me to. Is Enter the 36th Chamber.
Yes.
And that's because of that. Like, I love a kung fu movie that has training montages on it. And that one had badass training montages where like you see him going from like a novice that doesn't know he initially goes into like the master's chambers and
he tries and he realizes, I gotta start.
Yeah.
Whoops, wrong turn.
Pretty much.
What I always like is if you remember those movies, and it was even in Kill Bill. Gordon Liu was in that movie. The old masters, or even some of the evil guys, they had the super long mustache.
Yeah,
and the super long hair.
Yeah, like the Fu Manchu.
Yeah, and they were like all white hair to represent their age, and they were like They had always those crazy styles. Like I always go back to like the Five Deadly Venoms. That guy that he had like certain spots on his body that were his weaknesses, but the rest of his body, like you couldn't hurt him.
Yeah, the Iron Mountain style. And,
yeah.
I
mean, but it's funny because even today, like even though like Wu-Tang would always bring that back, where the kung fu movies, because they did how many years ago now? Iron Fist, the Man with the Iron Fists.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And so it's a very weird thing that how much it's like in the culture,
Yeah.
And of course, there's like Wu-Tang Clan, the rap group that literally they named themselves after a lot of the.
Are they still around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. There's the RZA, Method Man, et cetera, like all those are based off some form of martial art. Like I said, it's in the culture. I've always loved them, and it's almost like everybody. Oh, the ones that are so super cheesy that the English, when they're like dubbed in English, it doesn't match, or they speak and then 3 seconds later the audio isn't, But it's funny in that documentary that I watched. They were saying how for American audiences the dub seemed simplistic and silly, but in some of those, and whatever language I want to say. Whatever it was, Chinese or that some of the words were more poetic.
Yeah,
and it's kind of funny that way. That you kind of get. Of course, we wouldn't have understood it, but you kind of get robbed of that because it's simplified for us.
Yeah,
it goes from yes, Lotus, blah 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 to I'm whooping that ass. Just
yeah. I just had a movie in my head, and it's not the movie Hero. It's not. I mean, it's older than that. Seven Samurai is what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
I don't know. Would you consider that martial arts.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's actually another one of the movies I just like said. It just popped in my head right now, and I was like, "Damn, I love that movie!" Like I haven't seen it in a while. And by all means,
oh no, go ahead.
I know because like by all means, it's just I love watching it because it's like you have your heroes, and you like it's basically like some of them will wind up dying, and you're like, "Whoa, I thought these were the main characters." It's like
that was the beautiful thing about it, that heroes or not, they died. They were still
they're still human, like,
which I think shows like the difference between like Eastern versus Western.
Yeah.
And in Eastern culture and Western culture, like the hero always wins or always survives in some ways.
Yeah.
And in Eastern culture, like you could have been the hero in the movie, but you still die.
Yeah.
Ain't no sequel. Except for Enter the 36 Chambers, which did have a sequel, but it was kind of silly in a way. But
I don't think I've ever seen the sequel to it.
The sequel was kind of weird because Gordon Liu was the same character. So you remember Gordon Liu was the main character?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. So in the second part,
one of the very few actors I do remember.
Right. So in the second part, still Gordon Liu playing a different character who is impersonating the guy he was in the first movie. Right? Okay. He's impersonating that guy, saying that he is that character until people, I guess, he gets called down and starts getting challenged. So then all of a sudden he sneaks into, I forgot where, and he doesn't know it, but the original character, which is Gordon Liu, is training him in Shaolin, and then then his other character becomes badass and starts kicking ass or whatever. But I didn't like it because I was like, yeah, it's a little bit convoluted story.
But I can see that.
But it's funny. What was the name of the movie that you said? The Seven Samurai?
Yeah, Seven Samurai.
Which I think is exactly where they got
Magnificent Seven.
Yes, Magnificent Seven.
That's exactly where they got that from.
Yep. Which is why I like that movie too, because not all of them died, but most of them died, which is perfect. I mean, you did have the return of the Magnificent Seven, but it was 2 or 3 of them plus some other guys.
The return of the Magnificent Two.
Right. So, which also had at the same time one of my favorite actors, Yul Brynner. So
I have no idea who that is.
If you saw him, you would think like, man, he looked like he came from Shaolin. But yeah, I mean, Shaw Brothers always had such amazing movies that, regardless of the time, everybody thought it was cheesy or whatever. But there are some really, really good movies.
I mean, by all means, they're still cheesy today, but like, damn, they're good.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I know you were talking about some of the newer movies like Hitman and
For the newer movies, I mean, especially the Hitman series, I love the fight choreography. Like that is the one thing that has majorly evolved in those kung fu movies.
Yeah.
Is fight choreography, and like especially in the Hitman movies, like seeing them actually like go around with actual weapons. And by all means, I know they're stage weapons and whatnot. They can't exactly actually be using weapons. Shit's dangerous, but yeah, like they can certainly fool you,
Yeah. I still. I like, is it Tony Yoon, I think is his name? The main actor for Hitman. I think he's going to be I want to say I know he's going to be in the new Matrix movies.
Really?
I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, he's in some of the new movies. I forgot which ones. I want to say it's the new Matrix movie, or maybe it's the new John Wick movie. It has Keanu Reeves in it, pretty much.
Yeah, I got you.
But no, I do agree. I will say the Crouching Tiger, was it Crouching Tiger?
Crouching, yeah.
That movie, I tried watching it several times. It's a beautiful movie. Boring.
Yeah, it is very boring. But,
I gotta get past it. I was just like, it's beautiful. And
it's the fight choreography that kind of gets me. Like,
yeah, I agree. Some of that, but it's meant to be that way. In other words, it's not about fighting. It's more. It seemed like it was more poetic than anything else.
Yeah.
So it was more story driven. There you go. That's good.
Yeah.
For me being like a little martial arts little nut, I want to see like, Jet Li start whooping some ass, Speaking of, that's more on the newer end. That's one of my. I always like Jet Li's work.
Yeah.
his Once Upon a Time in China, that was really good.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've seen that.
You should. That's really good. It's more, still old school, but on the newer side and really good.
Sounds. It looks like you have a thought going there, Wolf.
I'm trying to remember the last one I watched.
Oh, okay. In the meantime, like there's also that other movie, and I don't know if you've seen this. Either of you, Ong Bak Thai Warrior.
Yes.
Yeah. That's another movie that has the fight choreography is amazing, and also the level of violence. I guess would put it. Like, I don't know about you, but like, whenever somebody gets like their kneecap like pushed the other way, it just always just instant cringe. Like, like I think we're all pretty tall here, so any kind of kneecap stuff, just
Yeah, no, I do like those movies. I mean, even like some of the stuff from like the 80s, like the Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bloodsport, I like those.
Yeah, Bloodsport, yeah. At first I was kind of cringing at when you're like Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I was like, no, Bloodsport, yeah.
Bloodsport was good, I like that.
What, you know, like Street Fighter?
I love Street Fighter, actually. Street Fighter is the cheesiest piece of shit ever, but I love it.
So terrible, but so good.
And they're actually releasing that in Blu-ray format in a steelbook, and I need to get it.
Christmas gift idea. Anyone?
Christmas gift ideas, just so you know.
That falls to you, yours, bro. This is the one. It followed suit in the same kind of like style of like, oh, they're cheesy, but like it overdid it. But do y'all remember Kung Pao Enter the Fist? See, I knew you remember it.
No, I mean, honestly, I never watched it. I refused. That's like right up there with like Surf Ninjas or, what's the one where like,
oh, you didn't like Surf Ninjas? You didn't like the fact that
there was that one where the
Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Which one was that? Sorry.
So like it basically takes like every trope from those movies, but it like cranks it up to 11 on this.
Is that the one with the lady with the hair curlers and whatnot?
I don't remember.
Okay, don't worry. What were you saying? Doc?
I was going to say, there was a movie where it was like an older Asian gentleman that taught these 3 little Caucasian kids.
3 Ninjas?
Is that what it was?
Probably.
Okay. That was like, no. Because I remember I thought of, or maybe I watched it on TV once, and he was like, yes, he nicknamed these kids, and they had little masks. One was like named Tum Tum, and I'm like,
yeah, that's 3 Ninjas.
Once I got to that part, I'm like,
okay, I don't remember seeing Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
No,
I just looked it up, and I was like, I was getting it confused with I forgot what it is, but it's like in the similar, like it came out around the similar time as a Shaolin Soccer. Remember that?
yeah. Another one I did not watch. I skipped that.
I actually kind of dug it just because it was like, again, it was like a weird like choreography going there that you wouldn't expect with that kind of movie, but like
that's kind of like Kung Pao. Like it, literally, there's a scene where he takes 2 gophers and makes them as nunchucks. So it's like, see, you see how this goes. Like, a lot of it makes fun of the cheesiness of this old martial arts movies with like the out of sync audio, and like they have English actors like portraying stuff, and they have some Asian actors, but like they're not like this. None of this movie is done in a different language. They're literally speaking their lines, and then they unsync the audio to give that feel. And like, I remember watching it when I was like maybe 12, and it was funny. But then I kind of like saw some clips of it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing. It's like it's kind of funny, but not as funny as I remember it being.
Yeah, I would probably put that up there. Yeah. I think since we've disgraced the martial arts movies here,
leave it to me.
I think the last one that I consider one that I watched was 47 Ronin with Keanu Reeves in it.
What? I don't remember that one.
Yep.
What was it about?
Pretty much Keanu Reeves is Keanu Reeves, amongst a whole bunch of samurai warriors, and so he's not accepted.
Gotcha.
And if I'm not mistaken, he dishonors his tribe or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And
clan.
There you go, clan. So, and they poisoned, I guess, whoever the clan leader is to take over his area. And so instead of serving him, all of his samurais say screw. And they plan revenge, etc., etc. A whole bunch of them die. But once, they win, the person that is now over them, they accept, pretty much all of them just killing themselves because they still kind of disgrace the clan or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Jesus.
You talk about, like, hey, you saved the day, now kill yourself.
Yeah.
Like, that is your reward. I'm like, I don't know. I think it would have stayed Ronin, because
I think the last one I watched was Fearless.
Fearless. I don't remember that one.
Jet Li.
I still don't remember it. I guess going a little bit back towards the parody section of it. Best way to put it. I don't even know if you would consider this a martial arts movie, but Big Trouble in Little China.
Actually, I really enjoy that movie.
I do too.
I wouldn't call it martial arts, but it's definitely in there.
It's like a parody almost.
Yeah. That's actually what it's classified as. Classified as Kung Fu parody. I'm like,
I don't know. I don't know if I would call it a parody because, realistically, it has some in it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. To me, I would have to. I can't do it. Just because it isn't. To me, it isn't. I can understand because it's
there's some martial arts in it. Yeah, but I get you.
What about the Chuck Norris films? Excluding the ones with him and Bruce Lee.
It's a weird thing because that's straight up 80s right there. Because, in fact, I was talking to him last time. There was, I don't know if you remember Michael Dudikoff and the American Ninja.
Yeah.
And there was like American Ninja 1, 2, and 3. And I'm like, I guess, you're an American and you study ninjutsu. I guess that can happen.
And then, I throw red, white, blue shurikens.
I know. And then when
shaped like burgers.
When America needs ninjas, who do you call? Michael Dudikoff. Because I don't remember his names in the movie. And then Chuck Norris is Chuck Norris. He's, but the way they did his was like and it was funny because he had a whole bunch of these movies, but it was still more like Chuck Norris is playing this character.
Who is Chuck Norris?
Yes.
Fucking sidekicks.
Yeah. Pretty much it's like, it's funny because literally, if you think of those movies in the 80s, he was Christopher Walken, where it was like, he literally was playing Chuck Norris, playing the character, playing Chuck Norris.
Choris.
Pretty much.
But the thing is, like, when I was looking at some martial arts movies and stuff like that, this is the funniest thing I thought of, was whenever I was looking them up and I was just scrolling through, fucking Walker Texas Ranger was listed under martial arts movies. I'm like, hold on.
No.
That was a TV show. Second of all, what?
Yeah, so, like I said, it was more like, his movies were more action. More action, or it was like, yes, coming back from Vietnam. It's straight up 80s, like, Vietnam hero.
Plus, there was that one scene where he just stared a guy to death.
Yeah.
What?
I forget what movie it is, but, like, he's literally, like, fighting a guy, and he just, like, either stops a knife attack or something, but he stops something, he just stares at him, and the camera, like, does the pan of, like, looking at him, looking at Chuck Norris, looking at him, and stuff like that, and the guy dies. And I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, everybody, back then, everybody, in the 80s, everybody was trying to capitalize on, war movies, like Vietnam movies, or the whole Rambo craze,
Yeah. Rambo craze.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole different Chango Libre right there.
That's several dogs' names too, but
Yeah. Several of our dogs' names were named Rambo.
I would just need to go to the woods and start making booby traps.
But yeah. So earlier we were talking about does Batman count? Does Batman Who Laughs count as a Joker? Let's get back to that little conversation, just because that was an interesting little spike there. And I think we did that off mic, so don't worry about repeating yourself here, because
everybody grab some popcorn, get a drink.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, for me, it's always it's a 50-50 shot, because yes, it is Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
But when he kills the Joker, the Joker, I guess he had I don't know how, but he had some gas emanate from his heart when he gets killed, and it turns Bruce Wayne into the Joker.
I disagree that it turns him into the Joker.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's a 50-50 shot, because it is Joker gas.
Yeah, it is.
And it turns him into the Joker, but not the Joker that we know. Another version of the Joker with Batman's intelligence.
Yeah. I would argue that it's essentially the Joker's consciousness in Bruce Wayne's body.
And I would argue that it's Bruce Wayne with the insanity of the Joker.
I mean,
but it doesn't mean and I'm not arguing. It's just
because in between us starting this, I was thinking about it more. If you've ever played Arkham Knight, spoilers, it's been out for a while. You should have seen the ending by now. At the end, Batman locks the Joker inside a cell, inside his own mind, and basically throws away the key. I think that is the closest, outside of the comic books, that has come to, the Batman Who Laughs. Mm-hmm. Whereas, I kind of look at it and think about it in the same sense as that, where it's you still technically have Bruce in there, but at this point, the Joker has taken over. And so it's you still have moments of Bruce, you still have things like that, but the Joker has essentially full control over Bruce's body and everything.
Yeah, I mean, either way you look at it, just two sides of the same coin.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. But to me, I'm he does the things that the Joker would do. So it's kind of hard for me to say it's Bruce Wayne. I think the strategy.
Strategery.
Yes, exactly. But his maniacal planning, it's almost I guess it's I think in the comics it was just Bruce let go.
Yeah.
In other words, he no longer has the restraint, nor is he not afraid of killing, but that completely is gone.
Yeah.
Kind of that. But think about it like this: what Marvel's doing with the What If series. How we have different versions of Batman, and of course, there's the one version there it's Thomas Wayne, and then the Joker's
the Green Knight.
No, the Joker is his mom.
Yeah, there's that.
No, I'm saying Thomas Wayne is the Green Knight, right?
Yeah. So he's talking about the Flashpoint.
Yeah,
where
Thomas, it was Bruce that got shot, right?
Yeah. So in Flashpoint, because the Flash decides to save his mom, he changes. Timeline, right? So Thomas Wayne becomes Batman, but a very brutal Batman.
Yeah.
Because the guy who is supposed to kill Thomas Wayne winds up killing Bruce, and it drives his mom insane to the point where she becomes the Joker. So it's kind of interesting.
But if you think about that, we have alternate Batmans, whether it be Thomas, different versions of Bruce, things like that. To me, this is just kind of a thing of they decided, okay, what if we toyed with this idea of where we toyed with other Batmans that didn't have problems with killing, stuff like that, but what if we toyed with the idea of basically combining Bruce and Joker into one, and then have them go against Batman? Have them go against, this is as I said, the true Batman that we know, the one that always has a contingency and always finds a way.
Just some of those comics that you read, literally, it was everything that, because at one point when Bruce gets infected with the Joker gas, he's trying to fight it off. He's trying to fight it off as long as he can. He's trying to come up with different antidotes. But the Batman Who Laughs that comes from the Dark Multiverse knows everything he's going to plan because he is Bruce Wayne. But his plans are so crazy and evil because he's still, I guess the best way to put it is part Joker. Even though not literally part Joker, but because of the Joker makes us, more, like I said, he's just free to kill. And that's what makes it hard for Batman or Bruce Wayne, and because literally the person that you're trying to stop is you, who already knows everything that you're going to plan and everything that you're going to counterplan. Yeah. So it's an interesting take on Batman.
Especially like with him having to make that new form of martial arts, just so he could have like an advantage.
Yeah.
But again, like with it being Batman Who Laughs, he's able to pick up on it fairly quick.
So it's interesting. Like I said, it's a good point. I mean, to me, I don't think he's of course he's definitely not the Joker, but he's as insane as the Joker.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah.
So to me, it's kind of like, well, is he a Joker? If you have all these different iterations of the Joker, then wouldn't he be a Joker? Just a different version of the Joker?
That's where I tend to disagree.
So it's kind of one of those things because I think it's half and half.
No, I think that's the thing. It's like he's not physically the Joker, but this is the point of the Joker cast to basically turn people into mini versions of the Joker.
Because so the Joker gas that everybody knows makes their skin pale and
it basically kills them with a smile.
Right,
but
the gas that came from his heart
is different.
Right, exactly. So that's why I'm like, it's no different than we were discussing with Batman Beyond, where the Joker implanted Tim Drake with the little
nanites. Yeah, I get you.
So that's why I'm like, in that sense, then I guess you could say he is, because if Tim Drake can become the Joker in the future, then and he's not literally physically the Joker, then the same thing would be applied to this. But like I said, there's no right or wrong answer.
No, there's not.
It's just one of those things where you're like,
I just thought it was a really good, interesting conversation.
Right, exactly.
For me, like, I would say he's 50-50. Like, he's 50 Batman, he's 50 Joker. But, like, I would put him in his own complete separate category. Like he's in his own, like, little tier by himself, simply because, like, he's not like any villain that Batman has ever faced.
Well, yes and no. Because of the Dark Multiverse, when we were talking about it, every one of those Batmans are in their own little tiers. That's why they all came from their own world, where they pretty much either subdued or killed everybody else. Because there's the Batman that takes the Doomsday Spores.
Yeah. Because,
like I said, fought Superman, tore off his arm. So he's like, screw this, take the Doomsday Spore, kill Superman, and then subjugates everybody else.
Yeah.
And then there's the one that puts, hey, I'm with Wonder Woman, and I put on the Ares helmet, even though she told me not to, and then I kill everybody.
Yeah.
Including Wonder Woman.
There's the Flash Batman, known as the Red Death.
Yeah. I forgot what the one with Cyborg is called. There's that
Cyborg.
Oh, wait.
Cyberman.
Right. Dark Borg, But there's that
the Korg.
There's the one, the female Batman that drowned, I think is her name.
Oh, yeah. The one that's supposed to be, it's like Samantha Wayne or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's that one. And then, of course, there's the truck Batman. That one I told you about, like, he downloaded his consciousness into the...
Oh, that's right.
And then the T-Rex one, that I don't know how that happened, but, I don't know if it was the T-Rex from this Batcave or whatever. Which makes it big. How big is the freaking Batcave? How big is it? Has that giant penny, the T-Rex,
Also, kind of like, I guess, does nobody notice these things being transported around? Like, hey, Two-Face was just using the giant penny to kill some people, and now this, multi-millionaire is just, he happened to have bought a giant penny?
Like he got it off eBay or something?
I know, right?
Imagine that package being delivered to your house. Like, that doesn't look suspicious.
I know. It's going to be like an Amazon package delivery. It's going to be like, here's your penny.
Like, I wonder what it is.
Can you bring it around to the back cave? I mean, the cave of Wayne? The Wayne Cave.
It's funny, one of the times that you stepped out, me and we were looking at a TikTok video that showed you the first Batman ever with the red tie, the black shorts, I think. A little mask like that and some little wings on the back.
Oh, the something Kane.
The Bob Kane Batman, the original Batman, which is like the suckiest Batman ever.
Yeah.
Until Bill Finger, that literally is his name, Bill Finger,
said,
hey, let me redesign this to actually semi-be cool, because design sucks.
Okay. Speaking of the multiverse Batmans, I had to look it up to see what they were called. Some of these names are hilarious. So the T-Rex one, B-Rex.
Or Brex.
Monster Truck Batman, Boat Truck, Batmobeast.
Batmobeast.
Fucking hilarious. Batmage. We got the Grim Knight, which...
who's Batmage?
Batmage, you may know more about this, but he was trained by Zatara.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I don't know. But the Grim Knight, what you were thinking of, is literally the same Batman, except he has no qualms with killing.
Gotcha.
There's Castle Bat, which is a living city.
Oh, that's right, so he could live forever. He became Gotham City so that he could...
Yeah,
they took it like extra far with the multiverse.
I will fart justice.
So there is the Ark Batman, which seems to have all aspects of Arkham Asylum inmates, from like Killer Croc to Clayface.
Okay.
That sounds weird. There's Mindhunter.
Oh, probably Martian Manhunter.
Yep. Darkfather, Darkseid.
What?
Darkfather is the one where he takes the spores.
Huh.
No, that's the one that's combined with the Doomsday spores. So
that's
it.
This is the Acropolis one. Never mind. And then we have the Robin King, which is
fucking boys.
Yeah, pretty much it is.
He became a really popular character. Like the first time he appeared, it went up and down. He's really that multiverse, like the Batman Who Laughs and the Robin King were probably some of the most popular ones.
Yeah, because this one, like, he's the demented child that killed his own parents, killed Gordon, Alfred, like, all.
Yeah, because I was watching a video that, like, was going over basically over the Batman Who Laughs, where, like, eventually he loses to Perpetua, the quote-unquote goddess of the multiverse or whatever. Mother of the multiverse is what they call her. Yeah. But then, him being also Batman, he planned for it. And also, I forgot where he took his power from, but basically...
Dr. Manhattan?
Yeah, there you go. The Dr. Manhattan Batman. He basically took that power and spread himself out across all the multiverses. And instead of becoming the Batman Who Laughs, he became the Darkest Knight. He became the bullet that killed Bruce Wayne's parents. And so that's, like, I thought that was fucking awesome as shit. Like,
yeah. So, like, what I thought was pretty cool is that across all the multiverses, there were also evil Alfreds.
Yeah.
That's how he got his essence transplanted into Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
So, and he became, like, I guess I was watching the same video, I think, that was talking about how he realized that his fear, the reason he became Batman, it wasn't the universe became his alley, and he became the bullet.
Yeah,
like you said. So it was a tripped out way of looking at it. So
I will say, like, I feel like out of all the stories, like Marvel, DC, things like that, Batman has probably one of the coolest ways of being able to write different versions of him. Because, like, his backstory is so simple. His parents were killed, and then he took up being like a visage of justice, refuses to kill, all that stuff.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But, like, the simple fact that you can write variations of him where he kills, or he uses guns, or, like, puts his mind into a T-Rex and, like, does all this fucked up shit. Like,
that's just so ridiculous, man.
Like, it makes it ridiculous, but it makes it ridiculous in a fun way. He could be a boat. He could be a truck. So we just gotta get him a red hat.
So this is something we were talking about. We've talked about this before too. Push Wonder Woman to Batman. He deserves it.
He deserves to cock them cheeks.
Because
that he does. Although I'm concerned for the Batwiener, because I'm pretty sure her cheeks getting clapped is like, oh god, that's some.
I don't know. If I was Batman, I would take the risk.
Yeah.
Even if I wasn't America.
Even if I wasn't Batman, I'd take the risk.
Because, I mean, realistically, I think it would be an interesting story because we were talking, Wolf were discussing how they always seem to push her towards Superman.
Yeah.
And of course, they had the little romance a couple of years ago.
It's like they always flirt with, like, they always have flirtatious moments with her and Bruce, and then, like, oh, no, go back to Superman's like,
well, I mean, I can't really blame her. She gets rejected all the time by Bruce. You know, maybe she just wants some dick, and she's like, she's like, all right, I'm done playing with Bruce. He's not giving up the dick.
But he's a billionaire. You have to work harder for it.
Got you. But realistically, I mean, to him, he's married to being Batman. But
yeah,
the reality of it is, I'm thinking, okay, the Catwoman thing, I understand, right?
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like, it would make such a better story to push them together.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I think we've talked about it before, how like he's supposed to be the epitome of human excellence, like incredibly smart, and then pretty much worked himself into physical shape and, knows all these different martial arts styles.
He is a warrior. And,
he trained for years and even still trains. Like, never stops.
Yeah,
always as close to perfection as an actual human being can be, right?
Yeah.
And to me, Superman on his planet, you don't know, they didn't have a yellow sun.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't be a god. He wouldn't have godlike powers.
Yeah.
Right? So the only reason that you have those powers is because you have the yellow sun here.
He could be working at their version of Starbucks.
Exactly. He'd be at In-N-Out Burger.
Crypto bucks.
Right. And realistically, I mean, he's not the brightest bulb in the world. Hey, whatever he learns. Again, like we said yesterday, Fortress of Solitude, everybody knows where it's at. Even Lois Lane.
Well, I thought about that a little bit more now that I think about it. Now that you brought it up, actually. I mean, it's still a fortress, even if you know where it's at. If you remember, the key is forged out of a neutron star, which is like infinitely heavy.
Right.
So, I mean, even if you know where it's at, you can't get in.
True, but the whole point of solitude is to be alone. But if you have Lois Lane going, let me in, let me in, let me in, let me in. I mean, kind of negates the solitude.
I get you.
Because people can always be there. And if you ever notice, like in the animated series, they always show Diana and Batman walking straight in like they got their own neutron star key. Like he's like, okay, Diana, go ahead and twist it.
Yeah.
Like, another point about Fortress of Solitude. But, like, anytime that it's revealed in, like, comics, movies, games, or whatever, where one of Batman's villains finds out about, like, where the Batcave is, it's a big deal. And it's like, for the most part, like, that story's been done before. But it's like, every time it comes up, it's still a big deal because the whole thing is that Batman keeps it secret.
The other part to that, too, though, if you think about it, it amazes me. I'm like, we found out where it was at. Didn't you just look up and realize, oh, crap, there's Wayne Manor.
The best part is that the person that fights it is like Polka Dot Man or like Crazy Quilt. They're just like, we're just talking dumb shit.
Yeah.
You're over there knitting.
So
that's impossible.
It's funny, but yeah. Anyways, back to my point. Batman deserves Wonder Woman.
Yeah, he does.
Because, like I said, for America, wouldn't you just be like, hey, this guy over here has all these superpowers because of the sun.
Yeah. The moment Kryptonite comes up, he's...
Right.
Yeah.
Now, she is literally a god, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Like we also talked about it, like, going back to the excellence thing, Batman from Hell, or like the Hell suit.
Oh, the Hellbat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, he fucking made a suit to go up against Darkseid.
Yeah. I'm like, Batman from Hell, like, hold on a second, like...
I would call him the Batman from Hell just because it's dope as fuck.
Yeah. I kind of prefer the actual name, the Hellbat, but
that's
But,
like, he literally went toe-to-toe with Darkseid.
Yeah.
And, like, it's like, look, he has no powers. Like, you're walking with the Martian Manhunter, Superman,
he's like...
Aquaman. I love how my brain just completely forgot about Aquaman. Like, you're with all these people that have, like, all these, like, powers.
When you think about Aquaman now, don't you just want to say Jason Momoa?
Yeah, they're like I was about to say Jason Momoa. I'm like, that's not it. What character did he play? But it's like, you have all these people that have all these powers, like, different resources, but Bruce just has his money, his smarts, and his determination to keep going forward.
Yeah.
Like, he literally, like, shows you at what level, like, human society, like, if it pushed itself, like, what level it can be.
It's just like, it's funny, like, that one animated movie for DC where, like, everybody meets each other for the first time, and Hal Jordan's like in the sewers with Batman. He's like, please don't tell me you're just a guy in a bat suit.
Yeah.
And
he pulls out the ring and he's just like,
yeah, he's just talking about, boink. And Hal Jordan's like, huh? What? I'm like, you're stupid. That's what it is. He's trying to tell you, you're dumb.
Yeah, he's like, you're not going to do that again. He's like, unless I want to.
Right. He's like, your willpower does not match Batman's. Or just like Batman versus Superman, where they're older and he's like trying to shut down Superman's trying to shut down Batman for the government, and he gets one-armed Green Lantern. I don't know, not Green Lantern, Green Arrow.
Yeah,
I don't know how he did it. Maybe he used his feet, but he shot that arrow, and Superman said, "Huh, clap," or whatever he did.
He caught it, and then it was like, surprise, bitch.
Yeah, it was kryptonite
powder.
Yeah, and I was like, and Batman started beating the crap out of him, and he's like, and I want you to know that I'm the one who did this. I was like, that's my dog.
Yeah, I was
like, even Batman Beyond, like, it picks up, Bruce is old, he's no longer Batman.
But he's still fucking Batman.
He's still Batman, and he's still, like, even in his old age, he's still beating people.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite episodes of Justice League is where they travel to the future, and it's like regular Batman meeting old man Batman, and like the regular Batman, he's like, here, let me do this, and he tries to interrogate him, you know?
Yeah.
And then the old man Batman's like, I was so young, and he just takes the criminal over to the edge, and he's just like, you're gonna tell me what I need to know? And he's like, all right. He's like, is that everything? He's like, I went to bed till I was 5 years old.
I stole my mama's peanut butter to make snackies.
Yeah. And then they're like it was like they turned to Superman. He's like, "What are you saying?" He's like, "You don't want to know." It's like, damn, like old man Batman must be dope because, you know.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like I'm not that big of a fan of like DC like heroes. I love their villains, but the only hero that I've consistently liked is Batman.
Yeah.
Just because like, regardless of him being a billionaire or a normal guy, stuff like that, he was always the one that like seemed more of a smartass, seemed the one that like pushed the envelopes, things like that. He had his morals, like he won't kill, like things like that. Like he lived by that, but he did everything that he needed to actually defeat the bad guy at the end of the day.
Yeah, which actually kind of, now that I think about it, leads into another one of the favorite Justice League episodes. I think it was like Dream Master. It's like a guy with the blue cape and a skull face. I don't know if you remember that episode, where he can invade people's dreams and put them in a coma.
Off the top of my head, no.
I think I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, it's basically he's going around through all the Justice League and he's putting them in comas, right? Because inside a dream, like he has complete control and whatnot, so he's able to put them into comas. But Batman being Batman,
when he's in the library, he opens up the book and he's like, "Oh, it's me."
Yeah.
Like, how did you know? Because there's no words.
Yeah. And then, like,
the fuck?
And then the Dream Master's like, well, I can still beat you. And he's like, no, you can't. And he starts singing that stupid French song. You know? Mm-hmm. And he's like, what's that song you're singing? Like, why can't I get it out of my head? He's like, because it's in my head and you're in my head. This is my world. And he's like, damn, out of all the fucking Justice League, like, nobody else fucking thought of this? Like,
nope. Martian Mindhunter? Oh, okay. Maybe not.
Like, because me and Doc were talking about while you were out, like, as much as OP as they make Superman, like with his powers and everything, Batman is probably a little more OP in the fact that, like, he never gives up, but they also, like, show him being, like, broken, breaking his back, stuff like that. He's still human.
Yeah.
But he always has those plans, always thinks everything ahead, can sit there and deduce things. He's the world's greatest detective. It simply proves that, like, just because he's human, he has to excel at other things to still be able to stop these guys.
The other thing is that he's also a flawed character.
Yes.
Because he's, like, he can literally not have a regular relationship because Batman isn't the disguise. And it's been, like, done
Bruce Wayne is the mask.
Yeah. Bruce Wayne is the mask for Batman.
Yep.
And that's one of the biggest things that I like. Is always fucking cool. You know? I remember there was a comic book where like they're forming the Justice League for the first time, and they all grabbed Wonder Woman's rope, and they're like, you know, speak your true name and, you know, forge the bond of friendship, blah 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 blah, and, you know, Superman's like Clark Kent, Wonder Woman's like Diana, blah blah blah, and Batman, he's like Batman. I'm Batman, and it's like that's just fucking dope because his true identity is Batman, and just
And like we talked about it, Doc and I, about the moment in the Justice League whenever like all those contingency plans against the other members of the Justice League come undone
under Doomsday.
Yeah, and then like they get
yeah, I think it's just the Doom movie.
Yeah, but like they get mad at him because he had those. He's like, well, because I have to.
Yeah,
and then like they're just like, and then they like grill him. He's just like, well, then fine, I don't need to be here. It just pieces out, and they're just like,
Yeah, but we were supposed to punish you. He's like, whatever, bitches.
It's like, I'm out.
Punish myself, losers.
No, I remember thinking of flawed characters. There's an episode of Justice League Unlimited, if I'm not mistaken, where I forgot who the main villain is, but you see Batman on stage singing some like bluesy jazz song.
Oh, that is
because I know Satana's involved. Right, she's probably one of the main protagonists in there.
And, oh God!
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because they hear him singing it's so sad, right?
Yeah.
That I think it was like Satana and Black Canary.
Yeah.
And or maybe it was Wonder Woman, Satana. Anyways, needless to say, it was two of the female characters on there, and they literally
not. It's the one where Wonder Woman gets turned into a pig.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like they walk away more it seems like more interested in Batman because of the fact that you realize in singing the level of the hurt that he has. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In my mind, that's the way it plays out. That you're like that's right. It's like catnip or batnip, whichever way you want to call it. Bat one.
It's Zatanna and Circe.
Yes,
the Enchantress Circe. Because I was like, I remember that episode. I just can't remember.
Yeah, but it's like, and he's not. It's not like he's up there as Bruce Wayne. He's up there as Batman.
Yeah,
and it's you're like, my dog.
Yeah, she asks him out for you. Because she asks him because magic always has a price. What's your price? And she's like, you know what I want. And then they do the whole. He starts singing and he's like. I think they're going to be like, I think Zatanna's like, are you going to wipe our memories of this? And she's like, not for blah blah blah. Basically saying she would never wipe the memory. And it's like, yeah, I remember that episode. I actually watched that not too long ago.
Yeah, like I said, it's a very funny thing because if you think about it, when it's almost like Superman's always propped to be the leader of the Justice League, and but the intelligence of Batman is he's bright, he's out in the daylight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's the face, basically.
Yeah, but literally, without saying it, I'm like, that's right,
yeah.
You're the face, but only because I let you be the face.
Yeah. It's about Batman is the leader / the wallet.
Right, and you're Ringo.
It's like you put your
Sorry, Ringo. I respect you as a drummer and all, but.
You know what I'm talking about. We put your shit on the fridge where it belongs.
I'm talking about you're my puppet. I'm the ventriloquist, you're the devil.
So, speaking of the animated DC movies, have you watched the Injustice movie?
No, thanks to you, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah.
I don't deal with this, disappointment from DC animated anyways.
Yeah.
Well,
have you watched it yet, Wolf?
No. I'm not going to. I already know it's a huge disappointment.
Yeah. I watched it the other night.
I know how it ends, and that is the dumbest fucking ending ever.
Yeah. I watched it the other night, and one, I don't like the way they draw Batman, or at least the Injustice version of Batman and Superman.
Yeah.
They have them drawn in that, very bulky, blocky, I can't put down my arms all the way because... my muscles
are 1980s wrestling action figure.
Yeah. But I don't like the voice actors that they did for him. Although Doc pointed out that they decided to do a different voice actor for each of the different worlds, Batman and Superman, which, when I think about it that way, does alleviate that issue, and I'm like, okay, that was actually kind of cool.
Yeah, because if you watch all the DC animated movies that have Batman in one way or another, 9 times out of 10, I think Kevin Conroy's only voiced in those movies. He's only voiced maybe once or twice.
Yeah,
every movie is different actors. Because I know, and the first time you saw the Injustice movie, the Owlman.
Yeah.
That was James Wood. He's a famous actor. Like, it's everybody like different. It's not always the same actor. So I find it interesting because sometimes you're like, yeah, I don't know if I like that voice for Batman, or that actually I never would have thought about it, but it fits.
I will say, I think my problem with the Injustice movie, like, even though I haven't seen it, like, I tend to spoil things for myself. I'll see something, they'll talk about it, and then it ends up like essentially spoiling it. But for me, like, what I had a problem with was, you have the moment Superman just shows up to fight bad Superman, but there's nothing that distinguishes them between each other. Like,
actually, there is. It's not the cape, the actual Superman uniform. The Injustice one, like, it has a weird pattern on it, like, almost like it's like they're trying to emulate the movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but like remember, like, the games and comics, like, since he takes over and does that, like, he has a completely different style of suit. But this one is just like, hey, we're gonna like slightly like change the texture of this one.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, but you're literally in this alternate universe where not Batman, but Superman goes off the deep end and starts ruling as a tyrant. Just fucking do it.
Yeah.
But that ending, holy shit.
Yeah, I there's something to be said for the ending of Injustice, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. Everybody go out, watch it. I would recommend, and make your own opinion.
We are not responsible for any money lost.
Yeah. I would say if you can, rent it before you buy it, because I like me some. I personally love animated movies above live action movies, and I'm glad I watched it somewhere else because I could not justify buying that piece of shit.
Like, I own both Injustice games. I've read most of the books that they've written for it. I love the story of Injustice. I love the idea of the Joker essentially going too far and then Superman killing him. I love that idea. Some moments in the story felt flat to me and stuff like this, but that movie just...
Whew. But they've been doing that here lately because it started with Gotham by Gaslight. It was pretty close to the story, and then they messed up the ending. Yeah, and they did it with Hush.
That's the problem with like this, because there are like in the Injustice, there are some moments of that movie that are literally taken from the pages of the comics, like beat for beat.
Yeah,
and it's like there's no problem with doing that, but like don't slap some shit in.
But that's exactly where I think Doc was going. Is that like
when you take
they want to reproduce it in an animated format, but they don't want to use the same storyline because who wants to basically watch what they've just read? Yeah, exactly. Doc just raised his hand and is like who wants to watch that? It's like the nerds that like the fucking comic book. Maybe
the same thing. The Killing Joke.
Yeah,
not 100% beat for beat, but close enough. But they did add in things that enhance the story.
Yeah,
like that's what you need to do. Like we're not going to be able, like you're not going to be able to sit there and go from like an interior shot to immediately on top of a building.
Yeah,
like without there being some kind of transition to get you there, a fade or something.
Yeah,
you need something. That's where you have the ability to do that.
Yeah,
but like you don't just sit there and be like, okay, we're gonna take this page of the comic book and then we're gonna take the idea of this and just throw poop at it.
But I think a lot of it isn't even so much that. It's just they're selling out their stories. Okay, like Hush, for instance, right? It's an easy example. A lot of it was pretty much exactly the way the comic goes, except for the main villain. Which, if you haven't watched it by now, spoiler alert, it's the Riddler. If you read the comics, probably one of the best Batman comic books ever, right? The villain is not the Riddler. That's when they created that comic book character, Hush. that. It's why it's called Hush. You know, great villain, great look. You know, and he's actually in the animated movie. And I hate to say this, but the fact that the Riddler is the main villain that has Batman all perplexed. Batman's never been perplexed by the Riddler, ever. Even though they changed some of that up, no. I mean, for one, it was a horrible look. You know, keep him with the bandages if you're going to do that. But that you know, where he unraveled his face and you see, man, that was the stupidest thing ever. I'm like, but the reason they did that is so that the casual fan will know. They figure everybody knows who the Riddler is, even if you're a casual fan, but you might not know who Hush is.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, guess what? Maybe by leaving it as actual Hush as the villain, you know, and not the Riddler, then maybe, just maybe,
you go learn more about that character.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I will say, I don't know as much about Hush, but I will say, like, he has become one of, like, my favorite characters from the stuff I've seen. Mm-hmm. Simply because, like, Penguin, Cobblepot, there's, like, that link between the Wayne family, and him being jealous, things like that.
Yeah.
Hush being a childhood friend of Bruce, and being jealous of him, and then, like, now basically reconstructing his face to look like Bruce to sit there and do these crimes, to sit there and ruin his reputation. That is interesting. I like the fact that you can have two characters that both have a connection to the Wayne family and be jealous of it, but one of them doesn't necessarily immediately act on it. It just has that deep-seated jealousy, and one is like, no, I want to ruin your life. Like, and that's what I like about Hush, is that he goes the mile of, I'm going to make myself look like Bruce and fuck his life up.
So, I mean, like I said, it's one of those things. It's. I get why they're doing it, and it's just overread to me. But at the same time, you're kind of insulting the nerds that helped you launch what you have now.
Yeah.
So
I think this is the problem with the adaptations in a large part, because not saying that like we're like this, but for the most part, like adaptations, there's always going to be something that gets missed, and then people either completely write it off because like, oh well, they didn't talk about that. And it's like, well, that's kind of like you need to sit there and set a lot of stuff up to get that, and like that's going to have to be one of your goals if you want to talk about that. But like it's some like in the comic books, things like that, like, those are a little easier because like you can set that up or find a way to incorporate it a lot easier than, let's say, if you're adapting a game or book series into it. It's like we've talked about it, Louis, about the World of Warcraft movie, how we both like it.
Yeah.
Because, like, we know the story and stuff like that, but critics disliked it because they didn't know what was going on. It's like, well, you would have needed 3 movies to set that up.
Yeah. Either way, I think we're going over a bit anyways. So, we'll go ahead and cut this conversation here. Maybe we can record more later. But either way, that'll be the end of this one. So, as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, hit the notification bell.